Most of us can take a shock to the system from time to time. Something dramatic and bad and hurtful happens. A car accident that puts us in the hospital for a while. An unexpected diagnosis that alters our lifestyle. A relationship that falls apart. A child that is wandering. We could go through, and all of us have experienced things like this. Some of us are going through them right now. And they are all hard things, individually. But God gives us the strength, and we do move forward, wounded maybe, but standing. It's when the trials mount up. It's when one bad thing happens after the next heartbreaking thing. And we can begin to recite a litany of loss and sorrow and disappointment. That's when our resources begin to break down, and we can begin to question the character of God. You know what this feels like. Maybe you're a young mother and the kids are sick and doing things that sick kids do, and the wash machine is broken, and the dishwasher springs a leak, and the car doesn't start, and your husband calls and says he just lost his job. And if that happens in a day, you're going to be questioning, where is God? Why is this happening? Well, that's where we find Job. What is God really like when unbelievable tragedy happens? How does God run His world? And can we trust Him? And how can we live at peace in a world like this and with a God like that? Shall we receive good from God, and shall we not receive evil? Now, that is a question that if you ask your typical American Christian, they will say, no, we shall not receive evil. That's not what God is for. That's not what faith does. But Job's faith is a faith where he is willing to surrender himself to the sovereignty of God. This is the essence of consecration, where Job lays down his life, his possessions, his health, his future before the will and the authority of God. You see, it shows that Job's faith is in God, not in his ability to understand Him. And that's a critical distinction. And it's usually revealed, the nature of our faith is usually revealed in times of trial. It's easy to say I believe in God, and even that I believe that God is sovereign, but when God in His sovereignty wounds us and disappoints us and causes us maybe great even despair and loss, then we have to ask the question, do we trust actually in the character of God, or has our faith been in our ability to make sense of what He's doing? You see, the book of Job challenges us with the question, what is God actually like? And the answer is that He is actually infinitely good and abounding in love. And you can say, well, what evidence do we have for that? And Job points us in his person, in his example. He points us toward the answer. You see, Job, as we said before, is not every man. He is a great man, unlike us. He's unique and distinct, and he suffers in a unique and distinct way. He is a type pointing us to another man, a greater man, a man who was more innocent, who suffered a greater loss and deeper sorrow, a man who willingly left and set aside the glory and the riches of heaven, willingly put it aside to become a man. A man who willingly took on himself our griefs and our sorrows and bore our chastisements. Who took our guilt on himself and submitted himself to the punishment and desolation that we deserve. Who willingly put himself in the place of condemnation. Why? You see, Job makes us then look to him and say, why? And the answer is that he did all this as a demonstration of the glory of God in His commitment to shower grace and mercy on sinners.